Hi everybody, my name is Jared Collier. In this video, we're going to talk about Keyword Grouper. Keyword Grouper is a keyword grouping software for Windows machines. This won't work on Mac. If you have a Mac, it might work if you have virtualization installed, but I've never actually used it. Customers have told me that it works, but I've never actually tried it. Also, this isn't for people that want to group hundreds of thousands of keywords. Let me tell you a quick story. I used to use Google AdWords editor, 9 point whatever, and inside that software, it used to have a keyword grouping tool. I looked at it, I said I could do this way better because all I did is pretty much spit out a bunch of garbage. You can't do worse than that, right? So I partnered with a developer from overseas. We worked together and we got this keyword grouping software built. Unfortunately, it wasn't industrial strength. It couldn't handle a bunch of keywords. So I would say if you're going to use this, the limit of how many keywords you could group at one time is roughly 10,000 or less. You can group it longer. People have told me they've grouped keywords with 600,000 keywords, but they also said it took a really long time. And I would not recommend that because once it finally finishes, you might not even be happy with the results. So all those caveats in mind, let's get started. Let's talk about Keyword Grouper real quick. This is the software. Here's how it works. You go get your keywords. I'm on Keyword Planner. Now, where do you get keywords? You can look at your Google Analytics. If you can get any past historic data, you can look in Google Analytics for what people are searching for on your site if you have site search. You could also look at Keyword Planner. You can look at competitor websites for where to get keyword information, see what kind of keyword phrases or the keyword density that they have on their page or pages. You can also look at your own content, get keyword ideas that way. And you could also use scraper sites or other online tools that can get keywords. There's a lot of ways to get keywords. For this example, I'm just going to use Keyword Planner. Here we go. All we would do is type in our keywords. We download keywords. Now we have a keyword list, right? Here it is. This is what it looks like. I'm going to copy this. There's 1,522. We go to Keyword Grouper. Paste the keywords in. Now I want to show you just an example with an apostrophe because in this keyword list it doesn't have an apostrophe. So what we first do is we clean the keyword list. That means we remove unwanted characters, and we do that by clicking this button. This will go find characters that are in the keyword list here and say, hey, look, I found these characters. Do you want them? But it's also important to note that, let's see if I could find like Russian characters. Hopefully I could do this quickly. Let's say this was in the keyword list. We say find it. It's not going to find those, okay? And so there's like, it's alphanumeric, but it's also alpha in other languages. So it's just going to find punctuation and what we can do, and other weird stuff. Like you'll find a bunch of garbage if you have a really messy keyword list. And we could say here, I want to keep the apostrophes. And the rest of these, let's replace with what? I'm going to replace it with a space. So I press a space bar on my keyboard, and then there we go. So now when we run this, we only see an apostrophe. All right. So now we've cleaned our keyword list. And even for just that functionality, that simple little step I just took, I've used that so many times. It's very useful just for cleaning a keyword list. Now we're going to go on to step 2. Here we just click Generate Common Themes. Now you saw how long that took. That didn't take very long. If you have a huge keyword list, that process will take a very long time. So that's why I don't really advise using this for massive keyword lists. Also, if you're super picky, like I am, about where keywords belong, like this keyword must belong in this group, and it makes sense because it's called this group, and this keyword has this word in it. So, if you get really granular like that and picky like that, then this tool will generate results that might not be in alignment with what you're hoping for. But let's just take a look and see what it can do. So here we go. We have brands in this keyword list: Sony, Canon, Fujifilm, and others. If we wanted to just create, we could add our own themes. Let's start there. We can add our own themes. When you add them, they add them to the very top of the list. And that's important because that's going to say, let's pull out all of these keywords first. So for example, if I was just going to type in Canon, Sony, Fujifilm, Black Magic. We'll just do that for now. Hit OK. They went to the top of the list here. You don't have to capitalize them, it won't matter. Now let's take a look and see what this would look like. We hit next. These are all the keywords here that had the word Canon in it. Down here we have Sony. So if we wanted to make branded groups, we could do that very easily. But you might want it to be related to the theme. So maybe it's a Canon and some kind of model number. And so either you have those or you don't, but you could use this to manually pull those out. Okay, so that's the first feature. The second feature I would say is the settings here. You can choose what gets outputted. So let's say we just want to group by one word phrases. When I click that generate common themes, it's only generating one word phrases here, right? That's kind of the idea. So if I go to here and I check two word settings, I click generate common themes, this is what I get. So for this example, I'm going to choose 3. The other main features here are this minimum number of keywords per group. Let's set that to 10. And you have some keyword grouping options here. You can also group each keyword into its own ad group if you wanted to, and set their match types and so on. For the campaign, I'm just going to call it camera. And then there's some other things here, but we're not going to worry about that. Generate common themes. Let's see what this would generate. We hit next. So the first group is Canon 5D Mark, and then Mark 4, Mark 3. So that's where it gets really muddy. If you don't care that Mark D2 and Mark D3 are completely different and they should be in their own group, then this might be a good tool for you. If you really do care, then you're going to have to put in some effort to really pull those out at the beginning. Or you can work with the settings and find the right combination. So maybe instead of like having 10 keywords per group, we could set that to 5. That way it's more granular. Now we click generate common themes. And so what I'm saying here is it's trial and error when you're doing it with these features, with the settings within the program. So now here we go. We have 5D Mark 3, it looks like. There's 5 keywords in it. 5D Mark 4, there's 5 keywords in it. Sony Cybershot, there's 5, and so on. So let's just say I like the preview here. Let's click next, and that's it. So we've created this structure for grouping our keywords. It was relatively easy. It's 8 minutes, roughly 9 minutes right now. But the question is it quality? Is it what you want? That's up to you to decide. Let's see what you could do with this. So we could come here. We could say, let's say you're doing SEO and you just want to know what keyword groups to focus on, maybe for a client. You could say group. And then before we do this, let's move this keyword column before the ad group column, just so we can kind of merge with a VLOOKUP. So VLOOKUP, let's look for this keyword here in this list here. And then we're going to bring over the second column, false. So this keyword belongs to this HD group. Let's remove some of these so we don't have a huge gap, so we can see everything in one screen. So here we go. Now there's a problem with doing this. If we removed a whole bunch of characters from our keyword list, some of these will show up as NA, but let's not worry about that for now. I'm sure there's probably a couple of NAs in here, but let's not worry about it. So now we have a group associated to each keyword. So we could copy this, or we could actually just put this into a pivot table. And we could say the group, and then let's say average monthly. We could do sum of average monthly searches, and then put the keyword right underneath it. And then we're going to collapse. Then we will sort. There we go. So camera, these are all the keywords that have the word camera in it that didn't find a group. Basically, they found a group. The group was called camera. So it's going to be kind of a mishmash of various camera keywords. This one is Nikon, so it's brand specific. You can see the various Nikon models there. You might want those as their own groups. So this is where it gets kind of, it becomes preference. If you don't like it, then you could always go back and change it, set the minimum number of keywords per group lower if you wanted to. That will definitely get you better groupings, but it's also going to be more granular, meaning you're going to have more groups. So hopefully that makes sense. Another thing you can do is, what the whole reason I built this tool for is, let's reverse this here, copy this, pull over Google Ads editor now. We go up to account, import, paste text, paste clipboard, process, and there we go. We've just created our paid search campaign structure. We call it camera. We just say keep, and then we could go through here and add ads if we wanted to. So 4K, people looking for 4K cameras. 5D, so this is the Canon 5D. We could drag and drop these into a 5D group if we saw, like this is 5D Mark III, that's a good example. We could drag it into the Mark III group like that. But you can imagine that could be very time consuming. But anyways, it is what it is. That's Keyword Grouper. All you have to do is buy it one time. There's no monthly fees, and it's yours. You can generate as many groups as you want. You can play around with it as much as you want. And the whole point is to hopefully save you time. So if you're interested in this tool, visit CourseNode.com. Let me show you that real quick. This is the page, and thank you very much for watching it up until this point.